AM for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brereton Horne. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brereton Horne will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brereton Horne at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on NiceRadio for A View from the Outside.
Okay, that will be coming up in a short while as we stand by for the Brereton Horne. I think we have him. And pleasant good morning. Hello.
Good morning to you, Justin.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
Nice, great, and wonderful.
Yeah, very good to hear that. I guess you're enjoying the weather, hence you're nice, great, and wonderful.
Oh yes. Well, I know when I got to the studio about 2 hours ahead of time, it was raining. Since then, I haven't looked outside, but I think I saw some sunshine, coming through the door. So, mixed what I would put it down to.
I see. Even with the rain, the weather is normally nice, isn't it?
Yes, around this time. The rain would come just off the sky without any notice, and then it's back to bright sunshine. Yes.
Well, here on this side, Justin, let me say good morning to all of the listeners of the program, your program there, and to all of the listeners of A View from the Outside. All Vincentians, wherever you are, and everyone else who is listening, a pleasant good morning to you. The weather on this side is as was described last week, it's cloudy, and the temperature is slightly higher by 1 degree Celsius. It is currently 9 degrees Celsius, and about 48 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
So that is the kind of weather that we have in London this morning.
Before you get into your side of things, and again, don't want to preempt anything. Some of the talking point this week, Zimbabwe for sure. Here in St. Vincent, we're hearing of the word family. your comments on those two issues.
Well, like you said, you don't want to preempt anything. So there may well be something in A View from the Outside.
Okay, man.
But yes, you're quite right. I mean, Zimbabwe is very much in the news, and the people of Zimbabwe are showing what their true feelings are in relation to the developments there.
Right.
And in terms of the family, we have heard this thing, and there have been several interpretations of it. Some people are wondering whether it's a mafia organization operating in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And, there are many questions being asked. And
correct.
Believe you me, that is going to run right. As well.
All right, well, over to you.
Thank you. On A View from the Outside this week being the 18th of November 2017, we look at the issue of dynasty, D-Y-N-A-S-T-Y, with the view being that there appears to be a growing dynasty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And as such, Vincentians ought to be careful not to allow any form of dynasty to take root in the country. The country, the region, and the wider world were informed that at midnight on the 9th of November 2017, Camilo Gonçalves assumed responsibility for the Ministry of Finance in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Everyone is aware that this ministerial position was previously held by Dr. Ralph Gonçalves, the father of Camilo Gonçalves. Gonçalves Sr., that's Ralph Gonçalves, held that position from March 2001, when the ULP government was first elected in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. While there's nothing wrong with a cabinet reshuffle or assigning the Ministry of Finance to a minister who is not the Prime Minister, it appears that Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, the current Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is getting ready to hand over the reins of power, the ruling of the nation, to his son. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines dynasty simply as, and I quote, a succession of rulers of the same line of descent, or a powerful group, or family that maintains its position for a considerable time, unquote. Up to the time of the announcement, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves retained the position of Prime Minister and Minister of Finance in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for some 16 years. By virtue of that announcement, he has now passed the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance onto his son, Camilo Gonsalves. Questions have been asked. Is this a manifestation of a dynasty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Are Vincentians being hoodwinked again? Is Ralph Gonsalves setting the stage to also hand over the position of Prime Minister to his son, Camilo Gonsalves? Well, on the face of it, it does appear that the stage is set for the handover of Prime Minister, and as such, the formation of a dynasty. Some may argue that the same thing was done in the New Democratic Party when in the year 2000, the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister James Mitchell, handed over the Ministry of Finance to Arnim Eustace, who was later elected as President of the New Democratic Party and succeeded Mitchell as Prime Minister. The fundamental difference between those two situations, however, is that Mr. Eustace is not the son of Mr. Mitchell. In fact, they are not related at all, and they have never been members of the same household. That transition of power, therefore, does not fit the definition of what a dynasty is. Further, Mr. Eustace is a trained economist and had significant experience in the practice of economics, both in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the region, including being Director of Projects at the Caribbean Development Bank. And he had that experience before assuming the post of Minister of Finance in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The question is being asked, and justifiably so, what experience and training in economics or financial management does Camilo Gonsalves have? And the answer to that question appears to be very little or none. As a consequence of that answer, one cannot help but think that what occurred at midnight on the 9th of November 2017 is nothing more than nepotism and the early manifestation of a dynasty. And anyone who describes it as such would have every right to do so. The Ministry of Finance in any constitutional democracy is extremely important. It's an extremely important ministry. Any observer will see that the Ministry of Finance, when not assigned to the Prime Minister, is assigned to a senior minister within the government and or one who is eminently qualified for that assignment. How then does one assess seniority in government? Surely at its simplest, seniority is determined by longevity or the length of time a person has served as a minister. If that yardstick is used, then one has to wonder, how is it that Camilo Gonçalves can be made Minister of Finance ahead of other persons in the cabinet who are senior to and more experienced than him as government ministers? It is reasonable, therefore, to conclude that the appointment of Camilo Gonçalves as the Minister of Finance is a clear attempt to create a sort of dynasty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We often hear the phrase, history repeats itself. As such, the history of the Caribbean throws up several examples of political dynasties in the region long before the apparent Gonçalves dynasty. On A View from the Outside this week, we focus on two of those dynasties. Firstly, the Duvaliers of Haiti. Collectively, the father and son ruled Haiti with a tight grip, some say an iron fist, from 1957 to 1986, some 29 years. Francois Duvalier, the father, nicknamed Papa Doc, ruled Haiti following his election by a black populist movement for 14 years. One of the things he did was to ensure that he had the local militia, the police, he had them firmly on his side. And as such, some might say that that has a ring of familiarity in our Vincentian context. Francois Duvalier then, through what historians described as, I quote, a faulty election, unquote, he then in 1964 assumed office as president of Haiti for life. His son, Jean-Claude Duvalier, then 19 years old and nicknamed Baby Doc, became president. It is important to note that he, Baby Doc, assumed office and was not elected. His dynastic succession was planned by his father. He, Baby Doc, ruled Haiti until 1986, when he was forced into political exile to France by an uprising of the people in Haiti who he had enough. The question is therefore asked, is Ralph Gonçalves, who holds a PhD, and his son Camilo Gonçalves, who he claims is also pursuing a PhD, the Papa and Baby Docs of St. Vincent and the Grenadines? While one may not be able to definitively answer that question, what is known to all Vincentians and others around the world is that Ralph Gonçalves often refers to himself as Papa. The second dynasty, secondly, there is the dynasty of the Birds in Antigua and Barbuda. Their Bird Sr., Antigua and Barbuda's first prime minister, held office from 1981 to 1994. He was succeeded by his son Lester Bird, who became Antigua and Barbuda's second prime minister from 1994 to the year 2004. The Bird dynasty therefore governed or ruled Antigua and Barbuda for some 23 years. It is noted that Lester Bird became Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda when his father, Vere Bird, stepped down. That is a perfect example of passing dynastic power from father to son. There are some stark parallels, therefore, between the Bird dynasty and what is happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Lester Bird prior to assuming office as Deputy Prime Minister in his father's government, was the Minister of Economic Development in Antigua and Barbuda. And he first joined his father's government as a senator. Similarly, Camilo Gonçalves, prior to being made finance minister, has been the Minister of Economic Development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in his father's government, a post which he will continue to hold. And similarly too, he first joined his father's government as a senator. Is he therefore going to be made Deputy Prime Minister or even Prime Minister when his father steps down? The country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the region, and the wider world wait to see. All eyes are therefore peeled on this developing situation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The current Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonçalves, has intimated that he intends to relinquish office soon. How soon is anyone's guess. But it is obvious that by relinquishing such an important ministry, which is the Ministry of Finance, which he has held for 16 years, that his soon appears to be fast approaching. Of concern to Vincentians, though, is the fact that because he has handed that important ministry to his son, he has exposed the roots of what appears to be the establishment of a dynasty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. One which is similar to the Duvaliers in Haiti and the Birds in Antigua and Barbuda. What happens next, only time will tell. What we do know, though, is that there is a general body of world opinion which shows that a political dynasty, more often than not, brings woes to a country. This is exemplified by the current situation in Zimbabwe, where President Robert Mugabe, who has ruled that country for close to 40 years, is attempting to create a dynasty of sorts to move power, to move the president of the country to his 40-year-old wife, Grace. And as such, Zimbabweans are publicly and vociferously rejecting any such move. Vincentians are therefore encouraged to pay heed to the words of Narendra Modi, the current Prime Minister of India. India being a country which has had its own experiences and challenges of political dynasties. And he said, Narendra Modi said, I quote, "In a democracy, dynastic politics is wrong. We need to free the state and the nation from it." Vincentians, pay heed. Until next week, this is Brereton Horne with a view from the outside, and we're thanking all those who have been sending their feedback to us and reminding everyone to send feedback to aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. That's aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. Justin, you and all of the listeners have a very good Saturday, have a wonderful Sunday, and have a fruitful week ahead. All the best to you and everyone.
Yes, thank you very much, and we also want to wish you the same. Okay, that was Brereton Horne with the